So if we're going to talk Grenada, there is no better place in which to have the conversation than the island's iconic carronage. As I talk, you can hear the sounds of the bells chiming behind me. But yeah, here I am in Grenada's capital, St. George's, and the carronage, which is actually a natural phenomenon. I think there used to be a volcanic crater here, so what's left behind is that. Sorry, I'm struggling to use my tripod. But yeah, just wanted to quickly tell you a little bit about this island, which is probably one of the more slept on islands in the Caribbean, and there's a reason for that. Some Grenadians may disagree with me, but I would say that in Grenada, most people, when they're not really desperate for tourism dollars. So what I'm doing in terms of talking about the island, what life is like in Grenada, the stories of people who've moved from the UK, from the US, from Canada to Grenada, it's a little bit controversial because, Grenada is a small place. It's an island of 100,000 people. So any influx of foreigners, people from outside, is probably going to have a significant impact for the island, which is why I try to do it quite sensitively. A few people have said to me, do you understand the impact of talking about Grenada? What's going to happen if foreigners come in and buy everything? And that's the last thing that I would want to happen. But at the same time, it is an island that does have a tourism board. There are international flights that come here on a daily basis. There's a lot of work that's done to promote the island overseas. So in a way, I don't think I'm being that naughty in talking about the fact that there is this wonderful island called Grenada. But what I am super keen to encourage is especially folks from the diaspora. Sorry, the light here is terrible. Folks from the diaspora who are looking for ways to come back. There we go. Let's get me out of the picture and just show you the scenery, which is much more interesting. What I am keen to do is find ways for folks from the diaspora to be able to keep that link to the island, because I think it's something that I say repeatedly, that for many years there has been an issue with a brain drain, probably since the 1950s, if not before. Talented, smart folks have left Grenada to go overseas in search of a better life. My family included. Like, the first person to leave was my great-great-grandfather, who moved to the UK to help fight in World War I. That's more than 100 years ago. So this isn't a new thing. And the impact of people leaving, of talent going abroad, is significant. Which again isn't to say that people coming back is the problem, because the way in which you come back is also significant. But addressing that balance, I think, redressing that imbalance is something that is super important to everything that I talk about with regards to the Exodus Collective. Yes, it's about leaving destinations that are hostile, but it's also about how do you move as someone in a new location that, yes, you may have links to, but also how do you deal with the cultural sensitivities that come with being generally in a small island, because in the Caribbean generally they're small. I guess you have Jamaica that's a lot larger, maybe 3 million people, but for the most part these are small places that we need to be sensitive about. Hi, morning. Morning. Yeah, an audience behind me. So who is this woman who's walking along the carronage in the middle of the morning with the audacity to talk about Grenada? Well, I'm Zoe Smith. Both my parents are from Grenada. I first came to the island in 1989 when I was a kid. And it's an island that I have a lot of proud to be from. I think one of the things that Grenadians always say, and even foreigners, when I ask, you've been all over the Caribbean, what is it about Grenada? What is it that makes you keep coming back? And really, pretty consistently, the answer is the people. I think the people is what makes Grenada super special. Yes, it's beautiful. The weather is amazing. There's a lot of natural produce. The beaches are glorious. But I think Grenadians have a level of chill that is kind of unparalleled, I would say, from my personal, very biased opinion. Um, and that can be amazing, and it can also be challenging. And I think when it comes to talking about Grenada, what life in Grenada is like, I think it really, from my opinion, and I could be completely wrong, and if you disagree, definitely let me know. But if you can't handle chill, if you're the sort of person who needs things done yesterday, if you're the sort of person who can't really do well without top-notch service, who wants everything to go smoothly, then Grenada really probably isn't the island for you, I would say. If you disagree, definitely let me know in the comments. I think there are other islands that are way more geared towards tourism, like Jamaica, St. Lucia, Barbados. And that is their bread and butter. But one of the things that I love about Grenada is that often when you have government initiatives announced to kind of boost tourism on the island or to get more tourism dollars, people will typically say, well, why don't you just give that money to agriculture? Why don't you invest it in something that's a lot more long-term and a lot less fickle? And I think that really gives you an indication of where people's priorities lie, what's important to them. And I think you also experience that on the island. When you come here, very few people are hustling. Very few people are going to be like pushing themselves on you, trying to flog you this on the beach, trying to do your hair, trying to get you to come to this restaurant, to that restaurant. I think when people interact with you, for the most part, the interactions are really authentic. And I think from someone who is moving from a big city or a so-called developed country where it is just go, 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 money, 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 buy, 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 coming somewhere like this where the vibe is different, the motivations are different, I think that can be really refreshing for someone with that sort of mindset. If you don't have that, if you are looking to replicate your life overseas here, it could be challenging for you. And there are many, many, many other, I think there's something like 7,000 islands in the Caribbean. There are many other destinations that you could choose that would probably be a better fit. So I think that's definitely something to think about for Grenada. So we're now at the ministerial complex. And so one of the things that I'm super keen to get people to start getting their heads around is, what does it practically look like to live in an island like Grenada? If you can handle the chill, if you are willing to basically recreate your life here. I don't think, I may be wrong, and if you think I'm wrong, definitely let me know in the comments. But I don't think it's possible to recreate your life back home here. There's just too many things that are going to be missing, too many things that are going to be absent for you to feel like, yes, I have everything that I had at home, just in the sun, with nice beaches and better weather. I just don't think that's going to happen. If you're used to lots of fancy restaurants to choose from, an endless array of nightlife, a bureaucracy that works super efficiently in which everything can be done online, like that's just not here. And I think it's really important to be honest about that, because the absence of that can be super triggering for some people. At times it's triggering for me. But I really do think it's important to weigh up the pros and the cons when it comes to setting out on a new adventure to somewhere else. And also, I keep on saying it all the time, but I don't think I can say it enough, to be really clear about what is it that you are looking to achieve from your move abroad. In the sessions that we have, like our session on Grenada, the live workshop takes place next Sunday morning, Grenada time. If you want to join, check out the link in the description, and I'll also put it below here. But it's really going to be a chance for you to connect with other people who want to move to Grenada, to talk to local experts. We have someone from a property background who runs a real estate agency here. We have Anne Sylvester, who's my go-to person, who is an entrepreneur here, who moved from the UK, and probably a couple of other special guests too. But I think it's really going to be an honest take on what life in Grenada is like. Is it really going to be an island that works for you? I think for me, moving here one of the things I've definitely found is that even though my family are from Grenada, I don't actually have any family that I can, just rock up and say, listen, I want to go out tonight. Can you look after my kids? Or a long-term friendship group who I can rely on for anything. And I think in a way, what I'm hoping with these sessions is that it can be a chance for those of you who do want to move, but who want to be able to move and feel supported and to have a network. It can be a really great way to start those conversations, and see what options and opportunities there are for you. Another thing that I'm always banging on about is the fact that I don't really think that Grenada and in the Caribbean in general, for the most part, I don't think it's a place to come to and try and find a job. Unemployment is rampant in the islands, especially in the aftermath of COVID. And I think generally, if you are bold and brave and wise enough to think about leaving your destination in the West, there's going to be a way that you can come to the islands, you can come to Grenada, and start something that's going to benefit you financially, so that you're earning not in Eastern Caribbean dollars, but you're earning in US or pounds or Canadian dollars. But also do so in a way that creates opportunities for people here who really need it. Not that they're not capable, not that they're not qualified, but there really is a lot of privilege that people like us have. And I know that's something that pisses people off. They disagree, but I'm sorry, that's what I think. Yes, we are definitely put upon in terms of racism, in terms of structural inequalities in the places that we may have been born in, but comparatively, compared to what folks here have to deal with, there's so much that we have that can be put to good use if it's done in a way that is sensitive, that is actually responding to people's needs, and that isn't an imposition. Take this, you should be grateful. It's more about mutual aid rather than charity. But yeah, that's basically what is going to be discussed in the sessions. If you have questions about where to find somewhere to live, if you have questions about how to start a business, if you have questions about tax incentives, about where's the best place to do yoga, where can I send my kids to school, the session on Sunday is going to be for you. But really, given that Grenadians don't like talking about Grenada too much to people overseas, given that folks aren't exceptionally desperate for tourism dollars, given that people don't really want to see the island being sold off, I felt it was important to just put that out there, that Grenada is not for everyone. I think it is an acquired taste. But if it is to your taste, I think it is a place where you can have a pretty spectacular lifestyle, where your talents, where your efforts, where your purpose can really flow, where you can benefit from amazing nature, wonderful people, and just a pretty awesome lifestyle. So that's it for me from Grenada. As I said, we will be having sessions focusing on St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia too. But this is where I call home. This is where I wanted to show you. I hope you like the sound of the waves lapping against the carronage floor. But yeah, if you're thinking about Grenada, if you're thinking about the Caribbean in general, and you want a destination that is small, where there's a sense of community, where there's not a lot of hustle, where there's a real definite sense of chill, I think Grenada is definitely an option worth considering. For those of you in the diaspora who are of Caribbean descent, who are of Grenadian descent, if you haven't applied for your passport, please do so. It's really an investment worth making that can open up so many opportunities for you. For those of you who are of Caribbean descent and have passports from CARICOM states, there are also options for being able to work here too, with different visas. And for those of you who are in the remote work category, definitely check out Grenada's remote work visa that lasts for up to 12 months. I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the session on Sunday. But 12 months is quite a commitment, especially to an island. If you've never heard of it, if you've never been there, one of the things that I would suggest is maybe coming for 2 months or 3 months, which you can do under a regular tourism visa, and using that opportunity really to scope out the island, to scope out like what destinations work for you, what areas, where you want to hang out, the sort of people that you want to be with, because I think the more information you have, the better. For me, moving to Grenada was pretty much a 10-year process. I came in 2000, actually no, close to 10 years. I came in 2013 while I was studying for my master's in international development, and definitely felt like this was a destination that had social issues, had economic issues, that I wanted to be a part of learning about and learning if I could contribute and tackle. I then worked remotely from here as a consultant in 2015, and got a sense of what it was like to work between time zones. Then moved back for a 6-month stay with my son to figure out what going to school would be like for him. Then set up a business. Then in 2021, I finally made the move. So for those of you with families, those of you who are risk averse, there are many ways of doing it. Some of you are going to be lucky enough to be able to just jump on a plane in 2 months' time and set up and start your new life. Because other people, it's going to take a bit longer, as it did for me. And I don't think there is one right way. The right way is whatever works for you. So am I happy with my decision to move to Grenada? 100%. I know the recent video that I posted talking about the many mistakes I made had some people worried, in particular my aunt saying, oh, Zoe, she made a mistake, she doesn't like Grenada. But that absolutely isn't it. I love it. There's just things that I've done along the way that could have been handled much better. And I feel it's important for me to share my learning lessons with you so that you can avoid making those, or just be less surprised when those mistakes happen for you. But there is life. Nothing can be perfect. It's not really a walk in the park. And yeah, Grenada is awesome. I love being here. I hope that for the right sort of people, you can imagine yourselves here in a way that works for you and in which you can also contribute to the island. That's probably enough for me. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below in the comments. If you want to book a one-on-one, you can do that via the website, which is www.theexodus.co. And again, we have the workshop coming up on Sunday, the 10th of April, in which you can have your questions answered live, you can connect to other people making moves, and the replays will be available. So if you can't make the live session, that will be there, and I'll possibly consider turning the workshop into some sort of resource that you can purchase too. But that's it from me. I'm going to enjoy my walk along the Carenage and wish you a happy whatever day of the week it is where you are. Adios.